Did you know that suffering can be eliminated by learning to completely detach? In a world where everything is in constant flux, the key to true peace and prosperity is letting go of attachment to material things, ideas, and people. By accepting impermanence and relinquishing control, you eliminate anger and worry, finding a more balanced financial and spiritual life. Life is in constant motion, and everything we see around us is subject to change. Nothing remains as it is forever, and this is one of the great truths we need to accept. However, we often cling to what is temporary, whether it's a material object, a belief, or even a person. This attachment holds us back, blocking the natural flow of prosperity. To achieve a healthy financial life, for example, it is necessary to understand that prosperity is not in accumulation, but in the balance and lightness of letting go of the constant need for control. Clinging to material things, such as possessions or money, creates an illusion of security. The truth is that all of this is transient, and when we base our happiness or success on these things, we are inevitably shaken when they disappear. Detachment, in this context, does not mean giving up prosperity or a prosperous life, but rather understanding that it goes beyond what is tangible. If you wish to attain self-knowledge and spirituality, you need to start questioning how much you are attached to these illusions. In addition to objects, we also cling to ideas, which are often limiting beliefs about who we are or what we can achieve. Think about that moment when you thought you could only be happy with a certain job, a certain person, or a certain amount of money. When we limit ourselves to these conditions, we close the door to other possibilities. Detaching from fixed ideas allows new opportunities for prosperity and spiritual growth to enter our lives, raising our vibration. Similarly, attachment to people can be a source of great suffering. When we believe that our happiness depends solely on another person, we forget that we are complete on our own. A healthy relationship begins when we understand that true love is free from possession. By letting go of the need to control or have someone always by our side, we make room for self-knowledge and spirituality to flourish. In this process, we become emotionally stronger, ready to face life's challenges. Before we continue, subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell to keep receiving content that will lead you to true transformation. Attachment also manifests as excessive worry about the future or regret about the past. How often do we find ourselves caught up in thoughts like, "What if I lose this?" Or, "If only I had done things differently?" These thoughts create a cycle of suffering that prevents us from living in the present. To live a prosperous life, both spiritually and financially, one must learn to release these emotional burdens. It is only when we let go of these worries that we can access the true power of the present moment. Learning to detach is not an easy process, but it is essential to release the bonds that keep us tied to anger, greed, and frustration. When we cling to something, whether it's an idea or a person, we create unnecessary weight in our lives. And this affects our vibration, hindering the manifestation of our dreams. Practicing detachment is like releasing an anchor that keeps us from sailing freely toward prosperity. Practice detachment in small, everyday situations. When something doesn't go as expected, instead of becoming frustrated or trying to control the outcome, accept that it is part of the flow of life. A simple example: if you missed a business opportunity, instead of dwelling on what you could have done, reflect on the lesson this situation brought. This exercise helps maintain your vibration high and attract new opportunities for prosperity, both in financial and spiritual realms. Often, greed is the result of the fear of scarcity. The more we feel we need something to feel complete, the more we cling to it, creating a vicious cycle of dissatisfaction. However, when we detach from the need to have in order to be, we discover that true prosperity comes from within. Self-knowledge shows us that we are enough, and this inner security is what attracts a more abundant and stable financial life. Detaching from things, ideas, and people does not mean being indifferent or apathetic. On the contrary, it is an act of profound self-knowledge and spirituality. By giving up control, you allow life to flow more naturally. Think of water. It doesn't try to control the river's course. It simply adapts and moves forward. Similarly, we must learn to flow with the changes of life, trusting that by letting go, we are making space for something better. If you desire a prosperous life, full of spiritual and financial abundance, the first step is to learn to free yourself from what no longer serves you. When we let go of attachment, we begin to see the world more clearly and objectively, recognizing opportunities where we once saw obstacles. Each act of detachment is a chance for renewal, an opportunity to align your vibration with the reality you wish to manifest. Often, we cling to the idea that we are defined by our appearance or certain negative traits we carry. This attachment, whether to an image of perfection or our own flaws, creates a cycle of self-sabotage. When someone believes that they can only be successful if they have a flawless appearance, they automatically place a barrier between themselves and the prosperous life they wish to achieve. This directly affects their vibration, blocking the manifestation of their dreams and their connection with true spirituality. Clinging to failures or illnesses also limits us deeply. By doing this, we end up identifying with these conditions and unconsciously accepting that they define who we are. A person who believes their value is tied to a physical or mental limitation allows this belief to affect their self-confidence and their ability to thrive. Self-knowledge teaches us that we are much more than our flaws. By detaching from these limiting perceptions, we start to vibrate at a higher frequency, attracting prosperity in all areas of life. Another important aspect is the attachment to comparison. When we constantly measure ourselves by other standards, we stray from our own path. This comparison can generate both feelings of superiority and inferiority, but both are harmful. The feeling of superiority creates a barrier of arrogance, while inferiority generates insecurity. Both emotions move us away from a balanced, prosperous, and spiritually rich life. To live in harmony, we need to stop comparing ourselves and focus on our own journey. Social media is a classic example of how attachment to appearances can manifest. The desire to present a perfect life to others distances us from our own truth and creates unrealistic expectations. When we live to meet these expectations, our vibration drops, affecting our ability to manifest a satisfying financial and spiritual life. By letting go of the need for external approval, we begin to live authentically, which raises our vibration and paves the way for genuine prosperity. Similarly, attachment to the victim narrative also needs to be challenged. Many people identify so strongly with their problems and failures that they cling to the idea that they cannot change their circumstances. This kind of thinking is dangerous because it distances a person from their inner power, from their ability to transform reality. If you see yourself as someone always defeated by circumstances, that will be the cycle that repeats. Self-knowledge helps recognize this trap and invites us to detach from these beliefs, allowing our internal vibration to become positive again. Spirituality teaches us that we are not our failures or illnesses, and that they are merely part of a temporary experience. When we understand this, we detach from the emotional weight these conditions bring. This allows us to access our true essence, an essence that cannot be measured by appearances or limitations. True prosperity comes when we accept our imperfection and see it as a natural part of the process of spiritual growth and evolution. For those stuck in this cycle of comparison or attachment to negative traits, a useful practice is self-knowledge meditation. It helps observe these thoughts and limiting beliefs without clinging to them. By meditating, you can visualize your prosperous life, connecting with the vibration of abundance and inner peace. This simple act of reflection can transform your self-view and how you see the world around you. Detaching from failures and illnesses also involves recognizing that these are part of a phase. Just as storms pass, difficult times also come to an end. When we cling to these conditions, we believe they are permanent, but the truth is that everything is in constant movement. Just as financial life fluctuates, our health and emotional well-being also change, and detaching from the idea of permanence makes room for healing and growth. Often, the first step in detaching is acceptance. Accepting that failures and illnesses are part of the human experience does not mean surrendering to them, but learning to coexist with them more lightly. This type of acceptance frees us from unnecessary suffering and places us in a state of mind that favors healing and well-being. When we accept that we are imperfect, we open the doors to a balanced, prosperous, and spiritual life. Self-knowledge also involves realizing how these limiting beliefs affect our relationships with others. When we are attached to negative traits, we often project these feelings onto those around us, creating unnecessary conflicts. Detaching from these perceptions allows our relationships to flourish in a healthier way, raising our vibration and bringing more harmony to our lives. Many people in this process confuse detachment with indifference, as if letting go means no longer caring. But the truth is that detachment is, in reality, a profound engagement with life without being attached to the final outcome. When you focus only on the result, you end up missing out on living the present fully. To achieve spiritual and financial prosperity, you need to learn to be entirely in the here and now, without fear of what might come. It is in this state of mindfulness that your vibration rises, allowing the universe to conspire in your favor. When you surrender to the present moment, you open doors to self-knowledge. Focusing on yourself and your emotions, without worrying about the outcome of each action, is a demonstration of self-love. Think about how this reflects in a prosperous life. If you are always anxious about something that has not yet happened, you miss out on the opportunities that come your way. By detaching from the future and focusing on what is happening now, you start to make wiser decisions aligned with your true essence. Accepting life's challenges without being fixated on the negative aspects they may bring is liberating. Imagine being in a work project or relationship and, instead of worrying about what will happen next, you simply do your best in the moment. That is detachment. What matters is not what comes next, but how present and committed you are to your truth. This type of stance generates a vibration of confidence, and this confidence is what attracts prosperity, both spiritual and financial. Practicing detachment in daily life can be simple and transformative. Try starting small projects without the anxiety of finishing or getting immediate results. If you are someone who wants to invest, for example, instead of focusing on immediate returns, focus on long-term wisdom. Read books like Benjamin Graham's The Intelligent Investor, and see how patience and involvement with the moment are more valuable than seeking quick results. This applies to any area of life. Engage fully without demanding everything to happen all at once. Detaching from results means trusting the process, even if it doesn't follow exactly as you imagined. Often, the path to a prosperous and spiritually rich life is not linear, and results are not immediate. When we allow ourselves to flow, without the need to control every step, life becomes lighter, and our vibration aligns with the natural flow of the universe. The practice of detachment teaches us to trust in our journey, knowing that even if results don't appear immediately, we are growing and learning with every step. Detachment is also a form of emotional liberation. When we cling to results, we become vulnerable to frustration and fear of failure. This affects our ability to make decisions with clarity and tranquility. By focusing on the present and letting go of the need to control, our mind is freed from these negative emotions, and our vibration naturally rises. This lighter and more confident state of mind is what attracts more prosperity into our lives, both materially and spiritually. To practice detachment, a good tip is to focus on activities that connect you with the present, such as mindfulness. This practice helps calm the mind and teaches us to appreciate the now without needing to control the future. The more you engage with this type of practice, the more your vibration adjusts to a frequency of peace and harmony. This directly impacts your financial and spiritual life, as a calm and focused mind naturally attracts opportunities in an organic and seamless way. Another important point about detachment is that it does not mean a lack of commitment. In fact, it's the opposite. Detaching from results requires you to be deeply involved in what you are doing now, but without the anxiety of trying to predict or manipulate what comes next. This mindset brings an inner peace that is the foundation of a prosperous life. When you detach from the need to control the outcome, you are, in fact, allowing the best to happen naturally and fluidly. This concept also applies to our interpersonal relationships. When we cling to what we want others to do or say, we create expectations that are often unmet, leading to frustration and conflicts. By practicing detachment, we learn to accept people as they are, without the need to control their actions. This kind of emotional freedom is a demonstration of self-love and respect for others' individuality. Thus, our relationships become healthier and more balanced, reflecting in a more prosperous life. Detaching from results also teaches us to value the journey more than the destination. Life is made up of moments, and the more we allow ourselves to live these moments fully, the richer our experience becomes. This is true for both spiritual and financial aspects. When you stop worrying so much about what will happen and start appreciating what is happening now, your vibration increases, and you begin to attract more opportunities and abundance into your life. Often, people cling to what has already passed or get stuck in future expectations, which leads to frustration and unhappiness. When you are fixated on the past, reliving mistakes, losses, or moments that can no longer be changed, you waste the opportunity to enjoy what is right in front of you. Similarly, when your mind is always projected into the future, anxiety takes over and prevents you from experiencing peace in the now. It is in the present moment that true prosperity happens, both spiritually and financially. Living in the present is not just a cliché. It's a powerful practice that transforms your vibration. When you focus on the now, you can see the opportunities that are truly around you. For instance, imagine someone who wants to improve their financial situation but is constantly worried about past debts or future profits. By focusing on the present moment, this person can find practical ways to act now, such as saving, investing wisely, or seeking new sources of income. Everything starts with awareness of the present. The past can be a great teacher, but it should not be a burden. If you cling too much to what has happened, especially negative experiences, you create an invisible chain that keeps your vibration at a lower level. This affects your ability to thrive and live a fulfilling life. Instead of carrying the weight of the past, use it as a lesson for self-awareness, allowing it to teach you without letting it define who you are now. True freedom and harmony come when we release what has already passed and allow ourselves to live in the now. The same logic applies to the future. When you live worried about what has yet to happen, you miss out on the beauty and prosperity that can be cultivated today. If your mind is constantly projecting what might go wrong or the goals you haven't yet achieved, you distance yourself from the inner peace essential for a prosperous life. The key to a high vibration lies in balancing your dreams with actions in the present, without the anxiety of controlling everything that is to come. It is this presence that brings more spiritual and material balance. Clinging to the past can also create a false identity. When you define yourself solely by the experiences you've had, you miss the chance to reinvent yourself. For example, if someone failed in a business venture in the past, they might believe they will always be a failure, impacting their future decisions directly. Self-awareness allows this person to detach from this limiting idea and create a new reality. By letting go of the old story, the prosperous life they desire begins to become possible. The future, on the other hand, is a blank canvas, and when we worry too much about it, we end up painting this canvas with colors of anxiety and fear. Instead, why not focus on the now and build a solid foundation for what is to come? Imagine someone who wants an abundant financial life but spends more time dreaming about it than taking action. When this person focuses on the present, they can start creating small habits that, over time, lead to great success. The present is the fertile ground where the seeds of prosperity are planted. Often, clinging to the future can also be a way to escape the present. Some people create such high expectations for what is to come that they become disconnected from what is real now. This doesn't mean you shouldn't have dreams, but that it is essential to balance those dreams with conscious actions in the present. If you want a prosperous life, start acting today without getting lost in distant fantasies. By doing this, you will see that the future, when it arrives, will be a reflection of the energy you put into the now. Letting go of the future and the past is not something that happens all at once. It is a constant practice of bringing your mind back to the present, and this can be done in various ways. Some people find this connection in the silence of meditation, while others find it in physical activities like running or yoga. The important thing is to find a practice that makes sense to you, something that helps you be fully aware in the present moment. When you are completely present, you will find that life becomes lighter, more prosperous, and full of new opportunities. Living in the present also helps build a deeper connection with your spirituality. When your mind is focused on the now, you can open up more to inner wisdom and intuition. It is in this state of mindfulness that you can hear the messages from your higher self, guiding your choices and elevating your vibration. The more present you are, the more aligned with the natural flow of life you become, creating the perfect environment for prosperity and spiritual growth. Change is a constant in our lives. even though we often resist it. When we accept impermanence, we learn to live with more ease and wisdom. Everything around us is in constant transformation, including our bodies, our emotions, and even our financial situations. By understanding that nothing remains the same, you open yourself to the prosperity that flows with time. Clinging to what was prevents growth, while embracing change allows new opportunities to arise. Spirituality teaches us that life is a continuous cycle of rebirth and evolution. One of the greatest challenges for many is accepting the reality of death. However, when we understand that death is merely a transition, part of a larger cycle, our fear transforms into acceptance. This does not mean we should ignore the value of life, but rather see it from a new perspective. Each moment is precious precisely because it is fleeting. The vibration of a prosperous life lies in understanding that the cycle of life and death is natural. And by accepting this, you live with greater fullness, knowing that each experience has its time and place. Flowing with life, rather than resisting change, is key to a more balanced existence. Often, we try to hold on to things that have already fulfilled their role in our lives, whether it be a situation, a person, or a phase. This attachment only causes suffering. When you begin to let go of control and allow things to follow their natural course, your vibration aligns with the harmony of the universe. This movement brings the clarity needed for self-awareness and opens the door to a more prosperous financial life, as you start to act with greater wisdom and discernment. Accepting death as part of life also means understanding that our lives have a unique purpose. If there were no end, we might not value the moments we have as much. Imagine living with the awareness that each instant is an opportunity for spiritual growth and elevating your vibration. This perception brings a deep sense of gratitude and steers us away from greed and fear. By recognizing that death is part of the cycle, you start to see each experience as a chance to thrive, both materially and spiritually. What may initially seem frightening, when analyzed deeply, reveals itself as one of the greatest sources of peace. Knowing that everything has a natural cycle, including our own lives, allows us to live with fewer attachments. Resistance to change is what creates emotional imbalances, such as anxiety and frustration. However, by accepting the natural flow of life and death, we find serenity. Spirituality teaches us that we are not our bodies, that our essence endures, and this gives us the strength to face earthly challenges, including those related to our financial lives. Many cultures around the world celebrate death as a return to the source, an integral part of the natural cycle. Instead of fearing it, death is seen as a liberation, a moment of transition to something greater. When we accept this view, we learn to appreciate life in its entirety, without clinging to what is temporary. This allows us to live more prosperously and with greater self-awareness. By accepting the impermanence of everything, we create space for the new, both in our spiritual life and in our financial realm. Resistance to change often comes from a deep fear of the unknown. But as you start to practice detachment and accept that everything, including death, is part of a natural cycle, that fear diminishes. It's like opening doors to a new way of living, where uncertainty no longer causes paralysis but rather opportunity. Imagine the freedom of acting without fear of loss, knowing that each phase brings a new chance to grow, prosper, and reconnect with your spiritual purpose. This mindset frees your vibration to attract more abundance and peace. In financial life, for example, accepting change can be a significant advantage. Those who fear loss often do not invest, do not take risks, and end up stagnant. But if you accept that the ups and downs are part of the process, you can act with greater intelligence and serenity. Prosperity is directly linked to the ability to flow with changes. Just as the seasons change, the economy also flows in cycles, and those who adapt, who accept these transitions, are the ones who become prosperous and successful, not just materially but spiritually as well. Self-awareness is crucial for accepting impermanence. When you understand that nothing is under your absolute control except your own actions and reactions, life becomes lighter. You stop fighting against the current and start flowing with it. This puts you in a state of inner peace, where your vibration is elevated, and you feel in harmony with your surroundings. This understanding reflects in all areas of life, including financial, as living with greater calm and clarity leads to decisions that are more aligned with your true essence. Often, we are led to believe that we are separate entities, isolated from the world around us. However, this idea of a fixed, independent self is an illusion that limits us. In reality, we are in constant connection with everything around us. People, circumstances, and the environment in which we live. When you understand that everything is interconnected, you begin to see how your actions, thoughts, and emotions directly affect your vibration, prosperity, and the flow of abundance in your life. Nothing is truly separate, and this interconnection shapes your journey. The idea of a stable, unchanging self may be comforting, but it is essential to understand that every experience lived, every thought cultivated, impacts who you are. Just as water in a river is never the same, we are also in constant flux. What you may perceive as a flaw or weakness is actually just a phase in this process of transformation. When you free yourself from the idea of immutability, you create space for a prosperous life filled with spiritual growth. This understanding elevates your vibration and connects you even more with the natural cycle of life. Thinking that we are separate from others is to forget that our actions have consequences beyond our own sphere. For example, a financial decision might not only impact your personal life, but also that of your family and the community around you. If someone decides to invest more consciously, they are not just securing their own future, but also helping to create an environment of prosperity and security for those around them. This is the power of interconnectedness. Understanding that our actions reverberate through all areas, including spirituality and material life. Spirituality teaches us that there is no real division between the thinker and their experiences. What you live and feel is part of who you are, shapes your vibration, and reflects in your decisions. When you understand that everything is interconnected, you begin to see that self-awareness is a powerful tool for adjusting what you wish to manifest. Want a more prosperous financial life? Look at your current beliefs and behaviors. By transforming them, your external reality will also start to change, as everything is connected in a continuous flow of change. This understanding can be applied practically in daily life. If you feel trapped in a cycle of negativity, it may be because you are feeding the belief that you are disconnected from something greater. Why not start observing your actions and thoughts as part of a whole? When you calm your mind, you realize that there is no separation between what you think and what you experience. This, in turn, raises your vibration and puts you in a state of harmony with the universe. In financial life, the idea of interconnectedness is also crucial. Think about how support networks and connections influence a person's success. An entrepreneur, for example, does not grow alone. They rely on clients, collaborators, and the market around them. When you begin to see that everything is interconnected, you start to value these relationships more, investing in support networks, mentoring, and collaborations. This is applied self-awareness, as by connecting with others, you also connect with the natural flow of prosperity. The belief in an isolated self can lead to a sense of loneliness and separation from the world. However, when you open up to interconnectedness, you discover that you are never truly alone. Everything is connected: your success, your spirituality, your prosperity. This means that by raising your vibration and cultivating thoughts aligned with well-being and abundance, you impact not only your own life but also those around you. This is a profound truth that, once understood, transforms the way you see the world and how you act within it. Spirituality shows us that the ego, this idea of a separate self, is an illusion that causes suffering. When you transcend this limited view, you realize that your experiences are not something that happens to you but are part of who you are. It is your role as a conscious creator of your reality that allows you to shape your life according to the vibrations you emit. By adopting this perspective, you take responsibility for the changes you want to see, both in your spiritual and material realms. The thinker and the experiences are not disconnected. When you believe there is separation, it becomes easier to feel like a victim of circumstances. But by understanding that you are an active participant in the process of transforming your reality, you empower yourself to create a more prosperous life. The difficulties you encounter are not a reflection of an immutable fate, but rather an opportunity to adjust your vibration and align with what you wish to manifest. This is the true essence of self-awareness. Understanding your role in creating your own journey to find true peace. Finding this true inner peace is a journey that begins with accepting impermanence. In a world where everything is constantly changing, the ability to embrace this fluidity is key to living with tranquility. When you accept that nothing is permanent, you begin to free yourself from rigid expectations and the desire for control. This does not mean you should be passive in life, but rather learn to flow with changes. By letting go of fixations and accepting the natural flow of things, you find a serenity that is the foundation for a truly prosperous life. Internal stillness is the key to this lasting peace. Amidst the hustle and constant changes, finding a space of calm within yourself is essential. Letting go does not mean abandoning your dreams or stopping your pursuit of goals, but rather releasing the need for absolute control over outcomes. When you cling to a specific result, you put yourself in a position of vulnerability and anxiety. Instead, focus on the process and the present action. For example, if you want to improve your financial life, focus on making good decisions and educating yourself about investments without obsessively fixating on specific numbers. Letting go of specific outcomes allows you to concentrate on the quality of your actions and your presence in the moment. True freedom comes from the ability to accept what cannot be controlled and to focus on what is within your reach. When you learn to embrace impermanence, you realize that you can find freedom in any situation, even the most challenging ones. This can be compared to a leaf floating in the wind. Rather than resisting the movement, it follows the flow and finds a new form of beauty with each moment. This perspective of acceptance and detachment is what fosters a life of inner peace and true fulfillment. The concept of impermanence is also essential for spiritual growth. By understanding that all things, including your emotions and thoughts, are transient, you develop a greater ability to connect with your spiritual essence. This connection helps you see beyond temporal limitations and recognize the vastness of your spiritual experience. When you embrace change and impermanence, your vibration aligns with a higher frequency, allowing you to connect with an inner peace that transcends external fluctuations. In practice, cultivating this internal stillness can be done in various ways. Physical exercises, such as yoga or Tai Chi, can also help calm the mind and integrate the sense of peace into the body. Finding activities that promote tranquility and connect you with the present moment is essential. By doing this regularly, you strengthen your ability to handle the mutable nature of life with greater grace and stability. Detachment is often a gradual process. Start with small steps, such as letting go of the need to control specific aspects of your life, and observe how this affects your sense of freedom and peace. As you practice detachment, you will notice that changes, rather than being threats, become opportunities for growth and learning. This process of detachment and acceptance is what will allow you to find true inner tranquility despite the ever-changing nature of life. The freedom that comes from accepting impermanence can also be applied to more tangible aspects of life, such as your career or relationships. Instead of fighting against inevitable changes, adopt an attitude of adaptation and openness to new possibilities. When you free yourself from the need to keep everything exactly as it is, you create space for new opportunities and experiences that can bring unexpected abundance into your life. Now that you understand the transformative power of detachment to eliminate suffering and find inner peace, let's explore how letting go of external worries and expectations can create space for a more authentic and spiritually rich life. Discover how to release social masks and patterns that limit your true prosperity. Click the video appearing on your screen to free yourself from the constraints holding you back. See you there.